State down here in Tennessee. We don't need y'all to talk about us because we're going to talk about ourselves. We told y'all.
All right, Jake. What the heck? What the F? Okay, first of all, welcome to Titans Tube. I'm Justin. This is Jake. And it's taken us a minute, you know, it's kind of taken us a minute to come out with this and let our thoughts and feelings resonate. But there's a lot going on. We were ready to get on here and talk about that incredible game we saw Sunday with Derrick Henry going vintage on the Jacksonville Jaguars, bouncing them from not just the AFC South contention, but the whole playoff picture in general. What a sweet 99% sure send-off that it will be for Derrick Henry. And Ryan Tannehill in there taking a knee, ending his successful tenure as the Titans starting quarterback, you know, being traded from the Miami Dolphins back in 2019. Nice to see him end his career with the Titans with a W, and just send all those Jags fans that came to Nashville home sad. And now they're going to be sitting on the couch with us watching the playoffs. But, we couldn't even enjoy that for like 2 days, Jake, because Amy Adams-Strunk has just lit the NFL world on fire, and it shocked everybody. Us especially. We didn't see this coming. But Mike Vrabel, everything is over. The entire thing is over. This whole era. I mean, she got rid of it. Everybody's leaving or getting fired. Jake, do you want to take it from here? Do we want to celebrate kicking the Jags out of the playoffs, or should we get straight into the meat and bones of what's going on with this Titans organization currently?
All right, we'll start with the good news first, I guess, Justin, and it's that I made a Derrick Henry flip card. I wore it on my, chest right here. Thank you, Derrick. See you in Canton as an Ohio native. I'm hoping to be able to make the short drive up to Canton somewhat in the next 10 to 15 years, depending on whenever Derrick does or will make the haul. It flips down into a tighten up, and it says, "Ask me about 22's Hall of Fame resume." And it's got a whole list of statistics here that I was making sure to bring up throughout the game. So we appreciated Derrick Henry's last game at the Titans. Justin, you said it was a 99% chance. I'm going to go on a limb and say it's a 100% chance that Derrick Henry has played his last game in the two-tone blue.
You can't give me 1%, Jake. I'm dying here. Give me 1%.
I don't think I can, dude. I mean, you don't take the microphone and give a speech and wave at everybody and then, thank everybody at the press conference and stay after in the players' parking lot taking pictures, signing autographs with fans if you're going to stay next year. And with the other coaching news, Justin, surrounding Nashville and the Tennessee Titans, that takes the 1% chance that I would have given you and throws it in the garbage. So I just want to throw out a couple of stats here, Justin. Did you know that Derrick Henry has had 5 seasons with 12-plus rushing touchdowns, one of 6 players ever to do it? The only one in that list who wasn't in the Hall of Fame, Sean Alexander, who always seems to get forgotten. And I'm hoping that Derrick Henry doesn't go the way of Sean Alexander because, Madden cover, Seahawks, going to the Super Bowl.
MVP.
And you don't really hear that. You don't really hear the Hall of Fame buzz for Sean Alexander. So hopefully it goes that way. Did you know, Justin, Derrick Henry has the most games in NFL history with over 200 yards rushing. He is tied with 2 players, and that is Adrian Peterson and O.J. Simpson, who, obligatory OJ joke here, but that's pretty impressive.
You had me in the first half. You had me in the first half. You said he has the most games, and then you followed it up with tie. So
he's tied for the most games.
Yes. Okay. I think I did know at some point. Unfortunately, man, he needs one more.
I know.
bet he has. Even though it might not be with the Titans, he still has a chance to really hold that record on his own. But that is incredible. That's Hall of Fame stuff right there.
It is. And did you know, Justin? Derrick Henry is the first player ever. There's no ties here. First player ever to rush for 180 yards in 3 consecutive games. And I'm sure you know exactly which 3 games I'm talking about. It was Houston in Week 17.
New England wild card,
and
Baltimore Ravens
Baltimore divisional.
Greatest win since Steve McNair days. Oh my gosh, I will cherish that win with all my heart. Thank you for bringing that up. Oh, I feel good now. I'm feeling great.
Yeah, hey, right, I got one more, and then just a little sentiment, and then we can get into the overall dumpster fire cluster that the Titans organization is in right now. Okay, Derrick Henry has 4 passing touchdowns. Now, I had to really do some digging in the stats because when you look up passing touchdowns by running backs, Justin, you get a bunch of Dayton Triangles players and a bunch of, Rockford, scallywags players who played in the 20s where running backs threw passes a lot. So
yes,
he is tied for 4th most passing touchdowns by a running back in the Super Bowl era. That's just kind of a fun little nugget to throw in there. It was a part of his game, part of the wrinkles of the Titans offense in the past couple of years, starting in that divisional game in Baltimore. So it's been beautiful to see the King diversify his statistics at the end of the day.
His portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely. And this last one, Justin, was just a sentiment from me personally. Derrick Henry set the standard for power running backs in the most pass-heavy era of the NFL that's ever existed. This is a passing league. It's a fireworks league. It's a long ball league. There's no secret about it. But Derrick Henry was turning back the clock on a weekly basis, showcasing highlights of trucking dudes and stiff arms and just stuff that will be immortalized forever. I mean, the Josh Norman stiff arm will be played forever. And I think that there's the Detroit Lions one, which is even a little bit better.
And that play counted too. There's a penalty on the Josh Norman one. So.
Yes, the greatest play that will forever be shown that will never that did not count. But that's just something beautiful about Derrick Henry that I think will get him into the Hall of Fame, Justin, is because you can't really tell the story of football without addressing Derrick Henry's run of dominance in what is a pass-heavy league. I mean, this is an outlier in the 21st century, an outlier, in our current day and age in NFL football. And, you think back to the Sean Alexander days, those were, that Derrick Henry would have been run of the mill then. But Derrick Henry doing this now in the late 2010s, early 2020s showcases how, for better or for worse, which we will get into with the Vrabel firing, Justin, but he brought power football to the stage and he was just a bigger than life figure. I think he's the biggest, most popular player that the Titans have had in maybe their entire history in terms of he's in the State Farm ads, he's in the Verizon ads. He's not the greatest actor in the world, but he's doing these national big spots. Everybody knows Derrick Henry stiff arm. Everybody knows him as the guy who's going to run right through your face no matter what. So, forever long live the King. Derrick Henry, hats off to you. Thank you for everything you've done in Nashville and for this Titans organization over your 8 years. Beautiful. We love you, King. Long live the 22. There's no doubt in my mind 22 will be retired by the Tennessee Titans in the future. And a Ring of Honor is a shoo-in for Derrick Henry. That's just a technicality at this point. But Justin, I guess that's the end of our nice feel-good segment. Thank you, Derrick. See you in Canton.
And Jake, would it be too much to go ahead and announce on Titans Tube that if you would like Jake to custom make you one of these Derrick Henry flip cards, you can message us for a good price of $107, and Jake will make you one.
Okay.
I mean,
does that include shipping and handling?
No, of course not. No. Don't be ridiculous.
But yeah, Justin,
that's great. Two index cards taped together, I think, is what that was. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you appreciating my Derrick Henry flip card, Justin. Yes, there we go. One of one. There we go. That'll fetch a higher price tag. But Justin, it felt so good to feel good about the Titans and feel good about what we saw on the football field last Sunday. 28-20, knocking the Jacksonville Jaguars out of the playoffs. Sweet, sweet revenge for last season. I mean, you said it, Derrick Henry with a vintage day, 19 carries, 153 yards, 8.1 a pop. He busted that long one. It should have been 2 touchdowns, but he had 1 touchdown on the day. It was beautiful. And, you know, him giving that speech, bringing, you know, misty eyes to Nissan Stadium. And we didn't even really get to enjoy it, Justin. Yeah. And that is what is messed up about this.
And also DeAndre Hopkins, one of the new fan favorites. I mean, everyone probably should have seen that coming, but he had himself a little game too with two beautiful one-handed snacks on the sidelines. Thanks, Tannehill, for making DeAndre Hopkins look good with your inaccuracy and getting a touchdown and getting those, I think it was a $750K incentive bonus. He hit 2 of his 3 incentives for the season that was in his contract. So it's good to see DeAndre Hopkins get that, feel good about the team. Who knows how he feels now that he's playing for a different coach and an owner who might be a little nuts right now, making crazy moves. But good to see him. Yeah, having a great game, ending the season, and Derrick Henry, of course. And before we move on, I do want to say how incredible. Here's the most incredible stat maybe ever in Henry's career. He finishes the regular season as number 2 in the league in rushing yards behind this O-line after time and time again of seeing him tackled behind the line of scrimmage, hit immediately. Dude, only Christian McCaffrey has more rushing yards than Derrick Henry. I mean, that should put him in the Hall of Fame on its own. So that's impressive. And the only Titan to be elected to the Pro Bowl. So literally the face of our franchise, the face of this team for the last 5-6 years. So
I've got that in here, Justin. 4-time Pro Bowler.
More Derrick Henry.
4-time Pro Bowler. It's down the list a little bit because Pro Bowls don't mean as much as they used to, but I mean, it's still worth mentioning. 4-time Pro Bowl gives him the face of the the Titans franchise. But Justin, I don't know if you want to move on. You kind of just said our owner, Amy Adams Strunk, is making some questionable moves. Give it to me. What gut reaction, first reaction, and then give me your zoomed out, okay, let's take a deep breath and tell me what you really think about Mike Vrabel being ousted, Justin, as the Titans head coach. No trade to New England. We just let him go. And with Bill Belichick not retiring, but parting ways with New England, expect Vrabel to be up in Foxborough in the next week or two.
No need to
tell me what
you
think, Justin.
No need to interview him. Just open the door open for him. Here's your desk. Here's your chair, Vrabel. Here's your office. Get to work. It's going to be that easy. That predictable for Vrabel to go right to New England, which means we're getting Belichick, right? Because that was announced today. So we're just trading coach. There's the trade. People were like, why didn't Vrabel get traded? Why didn't Belichick get traded? Here's the trade. It's just kind of off the books. No, we're not. That's not happening. But I don't know if you saw Taylor Lewan's reaction when he was on the Rich Eisen podcast when that news dropped. And dude, you can just see it on his face. Like he froze. He just started staring into space, processing it. And I feel like that was my reaction. And I was just, and Lewan says it too. And then him and Vrabel, are buds. I'm sure, they had a good working relationship and probably personal relationship. He was on Bussin' with the Boys, all that, et cetera, et cetera. But he was like, Rich, I think this is a mistake. This is a mistake. I love, Miss Amy, and we had a great relationship, and I think she's done some incredible things for the franchise. But I believe this is a mistake, letting this head football coach go. I was excited, dude, especially after seeing the players. The players play for Vrabel. He is very much a player's coach. I don't know if all the players love him, but dude, Vrabel. So after the game against Jacksonville, I was getting excited, to see him work with all these assets that we have. Him and Rain Carthon seemingly had a more or less successful first year together through the draft and free agency. And now with all these new assets, all this cap space, number 7 pick overall, I believe, in the draft. Let's rebuild this roster, rebuild this line. Promising new young quarterback, lots of great things to look forward to in the future with a put in place head coach that has brought identity, that has brought a culture to this team that the players respect. That's the thing about Vrabel. he is a, I think J. Rob, I think, said it first when he hired him, a leader of men, that kind of, mentality, personality of a head coach, who just loves coaching. He's a player's coach. I think he's a coach's coach too. He is, when you think football, you think Mike Vrabel. This is what he does. This is what he loves. And I think he has done it well for the most part. Coach of the year with a bunch of scrubs 2 years ago when the Titans had the number one AFC seed, dealing with all those injuries. But he's a guy that demands respect. Like when Vrabel's in the room, whether it's announced or not, like people know, like, oh yeah, he kind of brings that air to him as he carries himself. But he's also like a homie. I would go and have a beer with Vrabel, and we would, shoot the shit, and it would be great. And he would be a good, fun hang. But this is a guy that I think you're proud to be coached by and proud to work under. That's just the kind. Maybe I'm off, but that's the kind of vibe I get from Vrabel. This is a football coach you want in your locker room, on your sidelines, day in, day out with the players, and developing this Tennessee Titans culture that we have come to know. And these players play hard for him, dude. We saw it in Jacksonville. Like, we're not just going to quit because we're bounced out of the playoffs. When this team competed, unfortunately, last year, this team competed during that 7-game losing streak. How disheartening that was to see go down as we played ourselves out of the playoffs. But we lost a lot of close games during that run, too. Throwing out, a bunch of backups, coming in, Malik Willis, Ryan Tannehill missing a lot of games. So I think the players love him. The fans love him. So Amy Adams-Strunk, I think, has put herself under a big-time microscope now. If this thing doesn't work out with our next moves, I think Ran Carthon, too. I don't know. There's a lot to be said about what's going on behind the scenes with them now, and how, it's a lot to keep up with right now. I think there's a lot going on around Vrabel not disliking Carthon, but he was not Vrabel's choice. He wanted to go in a different direction, and as far as making some calls. I think Vrabel wanted some power too with some of these decisions being made. Absolutely. Yeah, you'd kind of expect that, knowing who the kind of guy Vrabel is. But Ran Carthon was not his first choice. I thought they had a successful first year together, but that's always kind of something playing in the background that we don't get to see all the time. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going off on rants, and I feel like I'm losing track here of where I was going.
You're good. But, you're absolutely good. I mean, that's what I wanted out of, I wanted to hear your perspective, other than a couple of text messages saying, what the hell is going on? And Jesus, for effing Christ, Justin, what is happening? We haven't really had an extended conversation. So I'm glad to get your perspective and reaction. And I think you couldn't be more on the nose about the kind of coach Mike Vrabel is and the kind of leader that he is. And you saw DeAndre Hopkins come to Nashville, even though they weren't a contender per se. He wanted to go play for a contender. He came to Nashville. Guess what? To play for Mike Vrabel. And that is one of the biggest assets the Titans had. They're a small market team. They don't have a great quarterback in place. They don't have a really great roster in place. Frankly, Justin, they just went 6-11. But you brought in a guy like DeAndre Hopkins to be a locker room presence, be a leader, build that culture, because it started and ended with Mike Vrabel as your head coach. Now,
he's well connected, very well connected around the league.
100%. And players love him.
Players and coaches and all of that. So yeah, he was a kind of a resource in bringing players in. That's a great point. Yeah, we do not get DeAndre Hopkins if Mike Vrabel was not our head coach, for sure.
100%. And so there's something to be said about that. And yes, that is beautiful. And that's why everybody is so pissed off about this firing of Mike Vrabel, is because every Titans fan knows that. He's a great head coach, great leader of men. Players respect him. Guys around the league respect him. And he has done a great job given the hands he was dealt over the past few seasons. Now, Justin, I'm trying to zoom out and not freak out about this, because you have to zoom out and ask why. I get that it was messy behind the scenes. It's power grab here, power grab there. Vrabel wants to have more say over the roster, and Ran and Amy don't want him to have say over the roster. I get it. But zoom out. 6-17 in the last 23 games, Justin. That is terrible. That is not good. That is, I mean, and we've watched all season long, adding on, the 7 games last year, how ugly this team looks. And it's almost like they refuse to try and change anything. I know that has to do with the roster hands that are being dealt, and you're playing against the league. You're playing with the league's worst offensive line, and I get that. You're not going to get anything done. But with Derrick Henry exiting, and I think Derrick Henry was exiting before this Vrabel news, you're heading straight for the Titans are heading straight for an identity and culture change with their football team and the way they approach game plans and playing the game of football. Because, if you don't have Derrick Henry, you can't have that power back going up the middle 20 to 25 times a game, no matter what. And that was aggravating to watch, Justin. Run, pass, punt. It's the MO of the Tennessee Titans. And I mean, enough is enough when you're 6-17 in the last 23. On top of that, Justin, the Titans haven't scored 30 points in 36 football games. And if my memory serves me correct, that's the longest streak in NFL history. NFL history.
By a few games now. I think we're in danger of breaking that a few games ago. And so we are pretty deep into this longest streak. The history back to the 50s, 60s, and 70s when they were scoring 13 on the regular. We've been doing this for a record-breaking number of times in a row.
It's unbelievable. So when you're heading straight for that culture change, that identity shift as a team, and Mike Vrabel is your head coach, who personifies toughness and grit, and we're going to punch you in the face a million times over until you don't want to play football anymore, which is great. And that worked out for the first 4 seasons of Mike Vrabel's tenure. But as the roster shifted, become worse, and, it's just not working. And I feel like, Miss Amy Rand put an ultimatum on the table. We are going to shift the culture of this team. We have to shift the culture of this team. I mean, there's no want to. We have to, because you haven't scored 30 in 36 games. That is horrible. That is a horrible stat in today's day and age. You have to score points to win football games. And it felt like all season this year, if a team hung 17 or 21 or 24 points on us, Justin, that's insurmountable for this offense and for this coming back. And so I understand cutting ties with Vrabel now, because the regime change and the flip to the Will Levis era and the flip to the Rand Carthon era is happening now. And if Vrabel wasn't on board with that, I get it. He's got to go. And so that is my rational brain thinking if I'm the owner of the Tennessee Titans. But I mean, it's such a clusterfuck, because you think about all the success he's had and how much he's liked and well respected. And if you fire Vrabel, I mean, the chances are your next head coach is not going to be as good as Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is a top 10 coach in the NFL. And that might be a little biased coming from 2 Titans fans, but I think a lot of people would agree that Mike Vrabel is a top 10 head coach. And you look at the vacancy, the vacancies around the league, there's 8 head coaching vacancies. Mike Vrabel is going to be an interview for every single one of those jobs if he wants it. And that is that's a huge, hey, like, red flag. This guy is going to get scooped up quick. So it's I get the intersection that the Titans are at right now. I understand that as a fan, especially with that 30-point stat. You have to score points to win football games. And Mike Vrabel doesn't want to play that. He wants to play field position. He wants to hit you in the gut a million times, and he wants you to get you to quit, and he wants to win football games 20-16 or 17-10. That's the type of games the Titans have won in the Mike Vrabel era. And I think after, going 6-17 in the last 23, Miss Amy's up in the box saying, I've had enough. I mean, enough is enough. And especially with the flip over of the new culture, Levis era, Rand Carthon, we're going to modernize this goddamn football team for the first time in its existence, Justin. That is why Mike Vrabel was fired and let go.
Yeah.
Would I like to have seen a trade and get something back? Yes, but that is why he was let go.
I know. Well, yeah. If they were this pretty, strongly felt this way about this is the move we're going to make, could we not have put out some feelers for some trades, or would that have taken too long? I think I read something where by the time it just would have taken too long. By the time they agreed on a trade with the team, then all of the other potential best candidates would have already been getting snatched up by other teams. So we wanted to just clear it and have the opportunity to interview the best qualified head coaches currently as it stands. Yes, I like what you said, Jake. There's a lot of validity, I think, and truth to that in terms of going forward with the new philosophy regime change and Vrabel wanting to do things his way, and Rand and Amy not seeing eye to eye. And I can't help but wonder if he kind of got Mike Malarkey'd in a sense, where Amy wanted to move on from these coordinators. And I think a lot of Titans fans, Bowen had his moments with the defense. Sure, defense obviously was the thing keeping us in many of these games, losing a lot of one-score games, holding teams to 17, 20, 23 points. And in today's NFL, that should be allowable and winnable if you can hold a team to that. But not everybody was sold on Bowen. Nobody would have batted an eye or shrugged or asked why, if Bowen was shown the door. But especially talking about this offense and Tim Kelly, I think a lot of people were ready to move on, and a lot of it may not be his fault given the state of the offensive line, because just as much as it is game planning and scheming and calling plays, the players have to execute. And if you do not have the talent, especially on the O-line, to execute your blocks, pass block and run block, it's hard to get anything going. But I think things were ready to see a change. 2 years in a row of this, of Tim Kelly, and then last year with Todd Downing. And I think Vrabel, these being more his guys, did not want to part ways with them. I think if I'm Vrabel, I'm looking at a lot of these players and I'm wanting to build the roster, but keeping my guys on board. But that doesn't really do anything in changing the philosophy and direction and becoming a modern style offense and things you were alluding to like that. And I can't help but wonder, we probably speculated this after the Indianapolis game, but I wonder, I can't remember who the special teams coach's name was, Ackerman.
Yes.
Obviously, something had to have changed. You can't allow 2 punt blocks going for 10 points consecutively and then getting your all-pro punter injured for the rest of the season. In his second season, this guy was on track to be breaking records and doing things that no one's ever seen as a punter. He was our best player. Punter. So I wonder if that also directly came from Amy Adams, and if Vrabel did it, because I guess Ackerman was a Vrabel guy, and I wonder if Vrabel, being loyal to a fault to his guys, as was Malarkey, and why he wound up getting canned as well, if that kind of rustled some feathers too between Amy and Mike Vrabel. But obviously she has the ultimate call. She sees her boy Stoney go down and out for the season. She's like, no, absolutely not. He's out. Get rid of the special teams coach. We got to change things up. There has to be consequences for the actions of what's happening on the field. And so she's starting to pull triggers, dude. We kind of saw it obviously with J-Rob a couple seasons ago in Philly. I think it was just the last video we were talking about it, and I did not even see that coming. Yes, A.J. Brown being traded was one of the worst GM moves this franchise could have made. But I didn't have it on the radar that J-Rob was going to get fired after that. And I think I haven't read the article yet, but my buddy linked me and then kind of summarized to an extent an article from The Athletic. I think that dropped today.
That's been the big one.
Where, where I think somewhere in there, not even firing Vrabel was really on the radar up until that loss to Houston in our Oilers jerseys. And yes, that was horrible and embarrassing. We lost to Case Keenum at home in our Oilers jerseys. And the script just flipped, I guess, for Amy Adams in her head. This is unacceptable. I'm embarrassed. I think we need to be moving on from Vrabel, more or less, was the vibe. And dude, I mean, my concern now with our owner is she's giving us these history of decisions where coaches and GMs are getting on a shorter and shorter and shorter leash. And this seems to be an emotional reaction. It's very however she's feeling, in the moment, oh, I'm so utterly embarrassed and petrified. Boom, decision made. Our beloved head coach by players and fans is out. And that is a very dangerous precedent you could be setting. where you're putting yourself under the microscope now, and fans might be starting to blame you, the owner, for the state of the franchise and its failures. I mean, look at Jerry Jones and all the power he has over with the Cowboys, and dude, he's not moving until he kicks the bucket.
Yep.
And I'm sure. I know Cowboys fans love him for the '90s and all that, but dude, I bet they are ready to move on to a more traditionally ran team, and having an owner kind of just be the owner. And I'm not saying she's literally watching highlights and breaking down film and looking at draft prospects that probably Jerry Jones is trying to do as well. But I don't know. You kind of get my point in that. I don't know. It's she's making these big time decisions. I mean, she better hope that these next moves are the correct moves, because I don't know. I thought we had a good one, man, in Vrabel, and to kind of have a guy in place to be the face of the team and the franchise, and somebody that players and coaches can rally around to lead the charge, kind of that Mike Tomlin-esque, coach for the Titans. So that also worries me, kind of zooming out and looking at how it came to be. And, she could be totally right. All the moves she's made so far have been
That's what
correct.
I was just about to say. Yeah.
Firing Mularkey was the right move.
After a playoff win. Fired Mike Mularkey after the Titans' first playoff win in like 15 years.
Yeah.
And was it the right move?
Crazy.
100%. It was 100% the correct move.
And I think the fans agreed. The difference is I think the fans agreed with that move more or less. I think you're getting a lot more pushback with this situation with Vrabel. But then, I think it was time to move on from J-Rob, given the incredible failures of the draft and,
correct
other trades for, Julio Jones for a second-round pick. It did not work out. And so that was the correct move. So this Vrabel firing really, be a correct move here. That time will tell, obviously. But
correct.
You gotta just cross your fingers and hope that this is going to work out at this point.
I hope. I'm with you, Justin. There's nothing. I feel like a lot of Titans fans are on the fence right now and not really sure. I know there's a lot of emotional reactions and there's a lot of, pitchforks and torches coming out for Amy Adams Strunk. But you got to think what she's done for this franchise since taking over in 2015, 2016. Ripping us out of the basement and making us at least relevant for a few years. The Titans have had a good run under Amy Adams Strunk. And I guess as fans, we have to trust the process because, she's got guts. She's not afraid to fire from the hip a little bit and do what she thinks is in the best interest of the football team. And that's something that the Titans ownership hasn't really done historically under Bud Adams, her dad, and then whatever that mess was with the Wisenhunt era, and Amy said, "All right, give me that. I'm taking the reins now." And so, I think a lot of fans are raising eyebrows at Miss Amy and saying, "You better fucking be right on this one," because we all loved Mike Vrabel, the league loved Mike Vrabel, the players loved Mike Vrabel, and so I don't know. The best argument I can make for letting go of Mike Vrabel was what I said earlier. You have to score points to win football games. This team is shifting an identity. This team is going to shift in culture probably, and he was not on board. So I just, you got to hope it's the right call.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you do. And I mean, I think I think there could be some truth too, where Vrabel was feeling like he wanted to be moving out. There's that thing in the article too about him being in New England for the Ring of Honor ceremony and some of the things he said, kind of indicating that, if there's a job here, I would absolutely be interested in coming back. So like how committed was he to being the Tennessee Titans coach long term?
That's true.
And then, he kind of looks like he does have a bit of a power struggle with Amy Adams here and there, and then not wanting Carthon 100%. I don't think they had a bad relationship. Again, to reiterate that, I don't think maybe they did. We don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes, but he was definitely not would have been Vrabel's first choice as GM. And I think Vrabel does like to have some say and maybe a final say in some of these calls. And I think you look at New England and Robert Kraft. I feel like Robert Kraft would be like, sure,
Yeah,
Vrabel,
yeah.
you wanna call the shots? The power is yours. Yeah, go for it. You're our head coach. Let's do it.
Oh
Um,
man,
so yeah,
Justin, you
it,
disappeared on us at the end of this
I was
episode,
about
man.
to say, how have I? Dude, what is wrong with my connection? Oh, hello.
Yeah.
What?
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. You have to keep your hands close. Keep your
That
hands
is.
close and your enemies closer.
I don't. Okay. I don't know what's going on. This is derailing, much like the Titans
Yeah.
off season and the feeling good about eliminating the Jags. Seriously, what is?
A
I don't like.
fitting end to this catch up video that we have going on, Justin. A lot going on with this Titans organization. A beloved player saying sayonara. It's been a wonderful ride. We'll see ya, and Derrick Henry. And I guess we'll see ya to our best head coach the Titans have had maybe ever. Not a shot at Jeff Fisher, but maybe a
Yeah,
shot at
right.
Jeff Fisher. So
I
we'll
think they
see where
both
this
were
team
about.
goes.
They were about like middling success. I think. The um, Brett Fisher was here for like twice as long, though, with about the same amount of success that Vrabel had. Never brought a Super Bowl home. Maybe, I mean, Vrabel, if he reached a Super Bowl, sure. But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they were both just barely like above the 500 mark, in wins versus
Yeah.
losses. Missing playoffs here. Hey, they both got bounced as first seeds. Fisher did that multiple times. So, dude, we can't. It's just the Titans curse thing. It doesn't matter who our coach is. Our hearts are going to be broken. But yeah,
Oh
dude.
no.
So comparable tenures, maybe. Just Fisher lasted twice as long for some reason. Maybe Bud Adams was more
Three
loyal.
times as long. Yeah.
Yeah, three times as long. Right. So yeah, this is the biggest, maybe most controversial move that Amy Adams has done. But like we mentioned, it seems to be working out with some of these drastic moves. With the coaching and GM changes here. So run with it. The show is yours, dude. Find us a quality offensive minded head coach that operates in the 21st century. Something the Titans have never seen. What if we bring back Arthur Smith, dude? How about that?
No. Whole new. This is about blowing it up, building
Okay.
brand new, much like
Right.
Nissan Stadium meeting the wrecking ball soon. This
Okay.
is all brand new from the ground up.
All right. I apologize.
It has to
That
be.
was an offensive thing to suggest.
Very triggering thing to say to somebody right now, Justin, in the Titans community. I get the love for Art Smith, but didn't go great in Atlanta.
Yeah, bruh. Yeah, Atlanta would mock us if we made a move like that. So, what else is there to say, Jake? With this Titans team, just kind of a wait and see. All eyeballs. It is the Ran and Amy show now. The Ran and Amy era. We'll have to think of some good nicknames for that. And Will Levis,
Raimi.
dude. I mean,
Yeah.
it is crazy. Tannehill, Henry, and Vrabel all out. Dude, what does Jeffrey Simmons think? Some of our like great stud star players too. Like, I wonder if they're because him and Vrabel were in lockstep. I'm sure had a fantastic relationship. So some of these players, dude, like I hope this isn't turning off our what we have really good going for us right now, which is a whole other conversation too. But Big Jeff seems like a great guy, team player. He's a Titan through and through, and he's the one himself who said we need to find guys that want to be Tennessee Titans in this locker room. So, what if he was actually, hinting at Vrabel because maybe Vrabel wanted not to be a Tennessee Titan. That's crazy. That's crazy speculation.
We're just
Anyway.
churning the rumor mill right here, Justin, on Titans Tube. All the Titans media is locked into our show every week. We thank y'all for another. I mean, this is also a season wrap, Justin. I mean, what the hell is going on? This is wild. So we want to thank y'all for tuning in for another season of Titans Tube. What a roller coaster, rough ride it was. It was bumpy. It wasn't pretty.
We got through it.
But we got through it. We had some great high moments and some horrible low moments, including right now. So, as it goes,
we are here.
And we appreciate y'all tuning in again. I'm sure we'll be back once the Titans hire a new guy to take over at head coach, and we'll discuss that. And maybe we'll talk a little bit of playoffs here and there. But until then, it's a waiting game to see what the next era brings for the two-tone blue. like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank y'all again for another wonderful season. Justin, thank you again for another wonderful season. These weekly videos are a form of therapy in terms of watching this football team that I think we both need and we both benefit from. So thank you, and we will see y'all in the next one.
Tighten up.